Welcome to Business Coaching Secrets with Karl Bryan. If you want to attract new high-end coaching clients, fill live events, and build a wildly profitable coaching practice where business owners pay, stay, and refer, you've come to the right place. In this podcast, Karl provides his keys to the kingdom for finding and signing high-paying clients and building the coaching business of your dreams. Here we go.
Hey. Welcome to Business Coaching Secrets. This is Karl Bryan coming at you, continuing our interview series. And this week, I have got a treat. Last week I had a treat. The week before that I had a treat. And this week I most definitely have a treat for you. Our guest this week is none other than Mr. Dale Gibbons. He's got a 33-year career, 15 in the corporate world and 18 as an entrepreneur. He's built multiple seven-figure companies and exited in 2015 to pursue full-time consulting. He lives on, get this, a 111-acre recreational farm. He's got his own pond with his own fish, which I think is pretty damn cool. But at the end of the day, he's a country boy with a southern accent and a northern income, thanks to the free enterprise and entrepreneurship. And he is none other than Mr. Dale Gibbons, who is a client of ours for a long time, but also somebody who I consider to be a good friend and somebody who I lean on a little bit and I've learned a tremendous amount from. So with that said, Mr. Dale Gibbons, I want to introduce you to the Business Coaching Secrets family.
How are you, Karl? It's good to be it's good to be, let's say, inside the Business Coaching Secrets family. Maybe I'll learn some secrets from here.
There, buddy, I got no doubt they're going to learn some secrets, and they're going to do it from you this time. Very cool.
I'm looking forward to sharing.
You beauty. Well, I'll tell you what, let's get, I want to get straight into it because, again, you got a lot of magic to deliver. And by the way, Dale, he was one of our presenters in Cancun just recently at Business Coaching Mastery, and he did a bang-up presentation where we got an unbelievable amount of feedback. So what I'd like to do is ask, how do I ask this? Skills and talents, right? I'm a business coach. Are they really worth something in the marketplace? We're talking to the chiropractor, the dentist, the butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker. How would you answer that? Skills and talents, are they worth anything to these business owners?
That's a great question. I think they're worth everything. I think more than ever, skills and talents are increasingly valuable. And I'll tell you why. I think with the rise of artificial intelligence, AI does not have skills and talents. We have skills and talents. Human intelligence has skills and talents, and we've developed that over a long period of time. And there was a point at which, when I was making a transition into consulting, when I was asking myself, one, do I have any skills and talents that are really valuable in the marketplace? And honestly, I had some doubt about that. And I think, honestly, Karl, I think a lot of people have some doubt about it. I mean, there are some people who don't. We probably those people. Yeah, I mean, who was it told me the other day? I'm sometimes wrong, but I'm never in doubt. So
Nice.
There's plenty of folks like that out there. But when I was making the transition into consulting and coaching, I had clearly amassed a large, or at least a respectable amount of skills, and had developed talents, some of the talents I was born with. But sometimes we look in the mirror and we ask ourselves, would McDonald's even hire me right now? We tend to have the curse of knowledge, and we're very familiar with ourselves, and we don't realize what our own skills and talents are worth. And so it's important to take inventory of those, get with the people in your inner circle, ask them, what their view of your skills and talents are, and then ask them, how have my skills and talents helped you in your business and your life, and those kind of things, and get that real feedback. I think for most people, your confidence level is going to go way up. And in my case, I got a lot of feedback that said, hey, you're you're undervaluing yourself, number one, and number two, you're not charging enough. So yes, I think skills and talents I think they're more important now than they ever have been, and will continue to do that. And part of that skill and talent is just be able to connect with and interact with other human beings.
Yeah. I remember I heard I don't know if I call it a formula, but I heard it's, hopefully I can get this right, but it was like number one, it's focus on your client. And then number two, it's make them super happy. Okay. So just slash get them results, legitimate results, not results for you, results for them. Right. Three, advertise it. Okay, so go to social, tell everybody, write an email, tell everybody, put it on your website, tell everybody, put a video in front of them, have them tell them, do a podcast and maybe do an audio interview. But at the end of the day, number three, advertise success, not your success and how great you are in your Lamborghini with the doors up, but advertise your clients' results from step number two. And then step number four is do it for another 10 people just like them. And then where am I at? 5, rinse and repeat, right? And I haven't said anything groundbreaking, but what is groundbreaking is advertising results of your clients. Where I think what folks do is like if I go to the business coach's personal website, how often is he talking about the results that he's got for his clients? And then when I read his emails, how often does he talk about the results of his clients? And I go to the footer in his email, is he talking about the results of his clients? And if I go to his website, how much of it is the results of his clients versus look at me, look at me, look at me, and the Lamborghini, it's the influencer with the Lamborghini as its damn, doors up. That just makes me throw up in my mouth, frankly. Because they're trying to make people jealous of what they have, and you want to make people jealous of what you are and who you are, not what you have. But I wanted to say, I love that. Like, not only you've got these skills and talents, provide them for your folks and then advertise it. And my opinion is that the high level business coaches of the world, which by the way, you well and truly fit into, but I don't see those folks talking enough about the results of their clients. That's what I want. So there you
go. Yeah, I agree with you completely. I mean, the offers in the marketplace, from what I can see and what I've experienced, the offers in the marketplace that other people make and that I've made and continue to make are the ones where you can do exactly what you just said. Robert Cialdini called it, he made the term social proof really popular, but that's exactly what it is.
Yeah, that's it. I love it. Okay, so so I'm talking to a coach. It's Dale a decade ago. It's Dale 5 years ago. How can I monetize those skills and talents in the fastest and most efficient way possible if I'm listening to this?
Well, don't try to invent everything yourself. That'd be the first thing. I've tried that before, so ask me how I know this. I've also been, my wife gives me, Tabby, she gives me a lot of unvarnished truth, and she's very gracious about it. But one of the things she told me was, she said, listen, remember that you're a recovering perfectionist in a 12-step program. You always will be a recovering perfectionist. So
nice.
Why don't you not try to do this by yourself for a change? And, and I really, that really is one of the moments. I mean, she said a lot of things to me that were important and impactful, obviously, but that was one of the most important and impactful for our business, for sure. And it's just don't try to do everything yourself. I mean, I would age out before I ever got it done if I tried to do it all myself, and not letting perfection be the enemy of pretty daggone good and done is really, really important. So follow a proven system. That's really the best. And then figure out how you fit your super juice into that. I think it was Tom Beal that mentioned this down in Cancun, your personality, your experience and perspective. I loved that.
Yeah.
Haven't forgot it. And so I think it's fine to Find a proven system. Find a proven system, just like what you've done with Focused. What I learned about you, I have to admit, I was quite the skeptic because I was one of the too good to be true skeptics, and I've been very, very pleased ever since I decided to make the commitment to borrow your system and license that and plug into that and make that work. So that would be the most important thing.
How long have you been with us, by the way?
3.5 years.
What would you say? So you've seen the software in the last 3.5 years. It's obviously developed at a pretty crazy rate.
Yeah,
or at least I'd like to think so. Maybe you do. But tell me, what would you say? How's the software? And again, understanding that you're a high level individual dealing with high level individuals, like how's it most impacted and helped you? Would you say?
Well, a lot of ways. The first one that comes to mind is, in my corporate career, the first 15 years of my now 33 years in business of some shape or form. In my corporate career, anytime you wanted to sell an idea, get funding for something, or anything for that matter, get any kind of budget dollars, it was always, hey, how does this impact the bottom line? I mean, anybody who's been in the corporate world rolls their eyes when they hear that because they heard it a billion times. And when we're dealing with these scrappy small companies who are, for the most part, trying to bootstrap things, they ask that question too. They don't always know to ask that question, but it's the question that they're concerned about. And so the software answers that question within minutes. You don't have to worry about bar napkins or spreadsheets or playing, hey, just pretend with me for a second. You don't have to do any of that stuff. And so that's the biggest way it's helped, because you can model things out using the PS and the Jumpstart 12 or the 40 strategies, or if you add digital, there's about 50. There's really not a scenario that you can't plug into that software and show an ROI, even if you can dream up something that doesn't fit in those 50 strategies.
Yeah.
I mean,
I love it. Love it. And by the way, wait till you see what's coming with the we had that big 7-month upgrade to the the artificial intelligence upgrade, and what's coming. Look out! Put your seatbelt on, Dale, and everybody else, because it's coming. It is coming. Yeah. But thank you for that, Dale. Appreciate the big plug, big time. Actually, I want to speak to what you said a minute ago about the bringing in, like, again, they've got, if you're listening to this and you're a coach and you're trying to work it out, I believe, and what I've seen and kind of what you said a minute ago, Dale, I think, in a lot of ways, they're trying to be that influencer, the storyteller. They're trying to be Gary Vee, Tim Ferriss, Tony Robbins, whoever it is that they're following. Or again, that one influencer that you just see on Facebook and he's got the Lambo and all that stuff. The ultimate moat is you. You. And actually, you and I have had funny conversations about my daily email, right? And see, the reality is that in my daily email, that is me. Unapologetically, I say things that maybe shouldn't be said, not off the wall. Like, I'm not being a lunatic. That's just stupidity. And I'm just not doing that, especially in this day and age. But that being said, there's no doubt that it's not designed to retract. In a lot of ways, it's designed to repel. Right? If you really think about it, like the way that you're coming across and like if you're being unapologetically you, there's going to be somebody that you're rubbing the wrong way, right? Like the goal is not to be vanilla. If you're not pissing somebody off, you're not going to be like attracting them. You want to have that vibe. Think about it. Like if you go to a high end restaurant, okay, the waiters and waitresses, and you can just tell when you walk around that have been there for 5, 10, 15, in some cases 20 years plus in a high end restaurant, they walk around like they have a higher level status than the patrons. And by the way, and that weirdly, that's the way you want it. Again, like what am I trying to get at there? They've got that vibe. When you walk into that room, and I'm not saying that you walk around like you're a higher level individual than the others, and I'm not telling you not to. What I am telling you to do is to be unapologetically you. And you are, look, what am I trying to say? You are the perfect moat. And Dale, and I think you've seen this, and I think that's what you said. Like, a lot of folks out there, they're trying to be more, they're trying to be other people. Again, the Tim Ferriss, the Gary Vee, the Tony Robbins. In reality, they don't realize that being themselves is going to be, they're analytical, be analytical. They're super creative, be super creative. They got ADD on steroids and come up with 500 ideas a minute. Maybe channel that, but at the same time, make that your thing. So, anyways, would you agree with that? And you follow me? The ultimate moat is you.
Yeah, absolutely. There's only one you, and there's only one Karl, only one Dale, only one enter your first name here. And I think people make a mistake when they try to be something else, or they try to make their differentiation something primarily more than that. Because being you is often enough. I mean, you obviously have to have, you've got to be competent, you have to be knowledgeable, and all those things. Those are kind of table stakes. But when you think about differentiation, I think you're exactly right, Karl. Be unapologetically you. I mean, just like when you made your introduction there. Look, I'm a country boy, man. I'm proud of it. I've lived in some of the largest metro areas that you can live in. I lived in Sao Paulo, Brazil for 4 years, right in downtown. So, boy, did I stick out like a sore thumb there. I lived in New York City for a year, and so I know what it's. I know where I don't like to live. I know where I don't fit very well. I mean, I did fine in those areas. I thrived. I guess my point is, I'm unapologetically a country guy, and I've got a great internet connection, 3 dogs and a cat, 3 dogs and 3 outdoor cats, and you might see them whenever you're online with me, and I don't mind being me. I try to keep things as simple as possible. I have a reputation for making the complex simple and the daunting doable, as one of my clients told me once. And
say that. Hang on, you got to say that again. What did the do that again? Would you?
One of my clients told me, you've got a knack for making the complex simple and the daunting doable. And
that's awesome.
What it probably doesn't realize was that I do those things, frankly, for my own benefit, but it just benefits everyone else. Because think about AI, for example. That's a complex topic right now. Everybody's trying to figure out what in the world is going to mean for me. How does this work? What should I be doing? Should I be worried about this? And you go online and try to figure that out for yourself. Good luck. That's a bit of a chore. And so I just decided, you know what? I got to figure this out for myself. So I'm gonna fire up a webinar topic on this, and I do it every 2 weeks, and I bring it all back to profit acceleration. Because if we're not doing it for that, what are we doing it for? I suppose there's some other things, but if we're in business and we're participating in free enterprise and entrepreneurship, then we got to figure out how it enables all that to happen.
Yeah.
And so one way to learn something is to teach it to somebody else. Yeah. Do it and teach it to others. Yeah.
That's my daily email. It's like a personal diary. Actually, and that's AI. In fact, I was talking to somebody literally just on Friday, which is just a few days ago, and AI expert to do. And I was just like, look, what you really got to understand is that AI is gasoline, right? You got the car. Without the car, there is no AI. AI powers something, it pours gasoline on something, but it is not a thing, right? And to see it that way is very, very beneficial. And again, it's like, remember crypto? Oh my gosh, I had so many buddies. I'd watch them on Facebook, and all of a sudden they're becoming the crypto guy and the crypto this and the crypto that. And my business is only crypto, and I only accept crypto. I have a buddy, still kind of giggle at him, the poor bugger, but like only accepting crypto to do. And it's like with anything, be a little bit tempered. And AI is, the internet changed the face of business. AI is going to do the exact same thing. So I am not in any way saying, don't get on top of it. What I am saying, though, is understand that without the car, there is no AI. The same way I suppose the internet would be the same, right? The internet's not the thing. It just accelerates the thing, right? So I went from doing business coaching 1-to-1 to doing business coaching online, right? Did it in 2005. Anyway, so that said, yeah, love that, and I agree. If you want to learn something, go and teach it. But here's what I want to. So you're a country boy, and we share that, by the way. Again, I grew up, as you know, I grew up in an acreage and in a small town of 5,000 people. So as a country boy, what am I going to do? I'm gonna strip you of all your possessions and skills, and I'm going to give you the chance to keep one. What would you keep?
That's a good one. But an easy one too, because I've told my sons this before when they were growing up, and the answer is my ability to communicate with other people and to influence them toward a decision that is beneficial both for them and for me.
Nice.
That's it. All I would need is my phone and the ability to do that. And you can accomplish really anything.
Yeah. And I'm going to guess that what you'd say is like the one thing that you're able to do, because at the end of the day, you got to be able to create value. And the way you do that is by influencing others. So kind of like sell, Mortimer. Would that be for a business coach 5 years behind trying to learn? Is that the reason why the phone is critical?
Yeah. Most people are afraid to pick up the phone, and it's phone calls and handwritten notes. Nobody does that anymore. It's one of the most valuable things you could do, for for its own sake, but not the least of which is because nobody else seems to be doing it much anymore. But yeah, I would say the ability to communicate with other people and influence them into a mutually beneficial place, called sales, but I think also called leadership, because I think if you do sales and leadership correctly, it's pretty hard to tell one from the other. And so that's really it. And value gets thrown around a lot. And if you said it earlier, I mean, what people really want is they just want to be happy. We all just want to be happy. And so value is anything that moves us in that direction. It's just that our idea of the means to that end is different for everybody. You might like, you might like a brand new hockey stick. I know you play hockey. That might be the thing you want right now, that you're willing to, spend your time to go investigate or go search out in a shop or online, and then spend your hard-earned money to acquire it. But that's different for someone else. That hockey stick is just the means to a higher emotional state for you. And just remembering that psychology, that it never changes. Every human being you talk to, that's exactly what they're working on right now. So your ability to communicate with them, ask questions to figure out what that is for them, and then position your skills and talents in such a way that they see you as the obvious choice to helping them get there. That's all it is. And it's the secret to being successful in business. And if you can do that consistently, you'll have all kinds of people jumping out of airplanes after you, one after another, for a long time. And not asking,
Jumping out of airplanes, Dale. This is next level consulting, man. What are you doing over there? But actually, I'll tell you, I don't know if you know this. I did so literally, I don't know if you go to my website now, if it's still on there, but it was on there for years. But I basically said, this was shamelessly ripped off of the real estate guy, and I'm sorry, I can't remember his name. Might be Legrand. I can't remember. But anyways, drop me in any city with my phone, and I will fill a local. Drop me in any city on Monday with my phone, and by Friday I will have a full local live event and 2 high-end coaching clients. Can't remember exactly the way I worded it, but I said the exact same thing. And I think in his promotion, he needed $100. I don't think I had the $100 in mine. I didn't need it. I just needed the phone. And bingo, bango, bungo. Again, drop me off on Monday. Thursday, I'd have the presentation. Friday, I would have the clients. And basically, and I did exactly that. In fact, we did a little bit of a play on that in Seattle. We ended up with 45 people, standing room only. Had to file in chairs from other rooms when everybody was filing in, because we weren't sure exactly how many people were coming, etc. But not the moral of the story is that I share that in that what I would want is the phone, and I would be able to get myself coaching clients just as you would have people jumping out of planes to get your consulting. Because at the end of the day, you would be communicating your value, and folks would be signing up. Actually, Dale, what I actually was doing a Local Legends. We have a program, Local Legends. We were doing it this morning, and one of the people, they asked me one of the questions, and it was something similar but a little bit different. It was about one of his clients. Was Rick asking, just I got a client. This is what they do, to do, and my answer was the same answer that I've given for close to 20 years. But if I needed, basically, if I wanted to start up a company, so without question, I would want my phone. But what I would also do is if I had 100 grand to build a company, I would buy clients. And by the way, if I had 5 grand, 10 grand, 25 grand, 75 grand, 100 grand or more, I would buy clients. So what I meant by that, like I wouldn't buy advertising, I wouldn't buy promotional materials, I wouldn't buy hats, t-shirts, pens, I wouldn't upgrade my truck, I wouldn't build a new logo, get new business cards, get a new sign, update my website, start doing SEO. I would say, what is it that I do? And just, it's X. And I would go find ideal clients, and I would basically buy my way so that they would work with me. An example would be doing coaching for free for 30 days and then having them start paying on day 31. And I would make sure that they wouldn't be clients that maybe kind of should. They would be clients that were absolutely my ideal clients. Or a way better example in the topic today, like live events. I would run a local live event where I knew that people would come, they would have a great time. I'd do a great job. I would educate them at a high level. I would entertain them at a high level. I would, make sure that, the room was orderly and was a, good professional environment. I would make sure that there were other high-end individuals in the room. And basically that is how I would spend my money, is by buying clients and effectively creating reciprocity. So a little bit different, but anybody listening thinking, what would you do? How would you promote? When you think about buying clients, it's like when you go to 7-Eleven and you want milk and bread, what do? You don't go up and say, hey, if the kids like it, I'll come back tomorrow and pay. You whip out your credit card, you whip out your cash, you give it to them, and you take the milk and bread home to your kids, right? Like you buy it. So there's absolute certainty that you could go to 7-Eleven and get the milk and bread, whatever it is that you want. Well, if you were willing to buy clients, like what I used to do, I used to go to the Chamber of Commerce, and the girl or guy that used to work there selling the memberships, I'd give the guy $1,000 and say, send me somebody who's going to be great for my coaching. This is what they look like. And I would pay them up front, by the way. I wouldn't pay them when they sent me somebody. I gave them $1,000 and put it in harm's way, knowing full well that I might get taken. But I didn't do it stupidly, by the way. I built a bit of a relationship, but that's an example of buying a client because they're signing up members of the Chamber of Commerce. Why are people buying a membership at the Chamber? They're trying to build their business. Who am I looking for? People that are spending money trying to build their company. So anyways, a little bit, not so much off topic, but just if, again, possessions and skills, I love your answer of a phone, the ability to communicate. And some other nuggets. What do you think of that, Dale? Anything you'd expand on there? Do you agree?
Yeah, I think you're exactly right, and I think you've landed on something. Frankly, a lot of people miss. A couple things come to mind, but I want to elaborate or offer a different experience with buying clients. When back in my corporate days, one of my corporate roles was in sales of very high end. People online talk about high ticket today, and it's high tickets like $3,000. That's laughable to me. That is definitely not high ticket. I used to sell multi-million-dollar outsourcing contracts. Now that's high ticket because one deal might be worth $10 to $50 million. And so the company I worked with, if you wanted to pursue an opportunity, a sales opportunity, you had to go get approval for pursuit cost. And then what they would do is they would do the math to figure out, okay, you've got about this much of a probability, a percentage of winning this based on what we know about everything. It's going to be worth about this much. So they do some simple math, and then they say, here's how much money we're willing to put on the table and invest. And they call it pursuit cost, as I said. and they would say, Dale, you're approved for $100,000 to go pursue this opportunity. And that's buying clients. And another quick example, one of my clients is in the transportation industry, and they're working to bring on new clients. The trucking industry right now is really rough for a lot of people in that business. And working with one of their new salespeople, and he's having a hard time penetrating, the guard shack and getting past all the gatekeepers to get to the decision maker. I said, listen, there isn't anybody I know of in the trucking industry that doesn't like a Gerber knife or a Leatherman or something like that. I mean,
Yep.
go buy one of those for $100. Take it to the mall, get his name engraved in it, and put it in a nice box with fancy, something. Send it to him, and put a card in there that said, "Hey, my first 2 attempts just didn't cut it. Maybe this will help. Got time next week? I'll call you on this date at this time." And people just don't do that stuff anymore. I don't quite understand why. But
Well, you said earlier that people don't pick up the phone and don't write handwritten notes. Isn't that what that's
right.
basically a handwritten note, right? With a leather, whatever, a knife, whatever, or a little gift.
Yeah, that's right.
Cool.
That's right.
Okay.
You're talking about a client that's worth $50,000 in a year. Why not spend $200?
It's exactly buying. Look at it again. What Dale just said, magic. But look at it as they're buying the client, right? And not everybody's going to say yes, but again, giving out, look, reciprocity. It's kind of what you're looking for. Okay, love it. Let me. Okay, so there's a lot of folks listening, and one-to-one, time for money can be a little bit of a challenge. How would you advise a business coach to leverage themselves at a higher level or get leverage? How would you answer that?
Well, the first is I would probably tell them to charge more for your one-to-one. Now, I have to qualify that because people who are just getting started,
Yeah,
more than likely can't just by default do that. I mean, as you've said before, do it for free for 30 days until you become that person now where you've got all kinds of good stories to tell and people are willing to tell that story for you. But outside of that, I would definitely leverage group programs for sure. That was one of the things that changed everything for me in a significant way because I was that one-to-one consultant, very well compensated, and but also exhausted. I'll never forget. I think I saw in your email, Karl, where you were talking about chronotypes and are you a night owl or a morning lark or the perpetually exhausted pigeon somewhere in the middle.
yeah.
I don't know if you remember writing that or not, but I laughed so hard. That was just classic. I've never forgotten. I always give you credit for it. But I was the perpetually exhausted pigeon somewhere in the middle because I just had one-on-one clients that were very demanding. Now, the other problem with one-on-one clients is they tend to move you from coaching to consulting, and the next thing you know, they're offering you a job and a paycheck you can't refuse. And I don't remember who said this, but I remember reading that the 3 most insidious addictions in our country are, what was it? Carbohydrates, opioids, and the steady paycheck.
Yeah.
And so that can be very tempting, but getting a good group program together was really the breakthrough for me. And the nice thing about it is you can put for all practical matters, you can put as many people in as a group as you want, and it may be 1 hour of fulfillment time, live fulfillment time. But then if you add an hour and a half in front of it, an hour and a half on the back of it, you've got 4 hours a week, and you can develop a nice 6-figure annual income just on that 4 hour a week fulfillment time. The rest is marketing and spending time with your family if you want.
Yeah, love it. One of the other things, like group, it's the network effect also, right? Like if you want to talk about getting like a $60,000 client with $5,000 a month, $60,000 a year off of a text message. Well, if that's something that excites you, like a group coaching program, the way that Dale is describing it, the way that you'll get it, like do group where everybody's trying to, you know what I mean? Like you got 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 members in it, and they're all asking you questions, and you're problem solving and doing hot seats and doing the magic that you do with group coaching. At the end of the day, really controlling the room at a high level. Let's just say there's 25 of them. There are 5 people in that group that desperately want access to you one to one. It's just one of those things. So it's a network effect, which I've talked about a lot in the past. I won't bore everybody with today, but that, you know what I mean? Like that's the one bit of group that I don't think people realize where the leverage really can come in, is doing less one to one, but doing it at a significantly higher level, but making them go through your group to get at you, right? It's a model and a half, and I don't know that folks, they're looking at group, but then not realizing that that magic can also leak into it, right? Of those really, really high end one to ones that they're kind of want, but they don't want a lot of them, right?
Right. Yeah, you can have a high end one to one or 2 or 3, and that can be worth 5 to 20K a month right there, depending on what you're doing, who you're doing it with. I mean, I don't know where everyone else is, but my one to one clients pay a lot more than $1,000 a month. I can tell you that. But then again, it's an okay place to start too. That's a fantastic place to get going. But that group program is really where you get to go fishing if you want, if you do that one right.
I got to say something stupid here because I just can't help myself. But the way that group coaching was described to me, it's like somebody's getting started in coaching, and it's like, should I start in group or should I start in one to one? And they say it's like sex. You're probably better to start one to one before you start putting yourself in a group situation. You might look a little bit stupid. So there you go. So there you go, Dale. Straight from my
that's that uniquely, unapologetically Karl coming out.
Oh, I remember hearing that, man. I laughed so hard, I nearly died. Anyway, so okay, we got more serious matters. I want to hear, what's the most, I don't know, how do I word this? The most important bit of advice that you've ever received.
Most important bit of advice I ever received: control the space between your ears, or somebody else will do it for you. That's the best advice that I ever received. Just learn to control your thoughts, and if if we don't do that, then maybe fate, certainly other people will do it for you. They're all they'll line up and happily control your thoughts and tease your mortgage payment out of your pocket and put it in theirs if you're not careful, and in a way that's not best for you. But control your thoughts for sure. I think one of the most important things I ever really learned is that your thoughts are not really you. They are a product of a busy mind, a busy brain, and you get to decide whether or not you want to entertain them, first of all, or just let them drift on by like a cloud on a blue sky. And if you do decide to entertain a thought, then you get to also choose what you do with it and what meaning you assign to it. And that's just helped me tremendously. It's not always the easiest thing to do, but I think the outcome of life really is a matter of choices in 2 areas. One, it would be the attitudes that we allow ourselves to develop, and that's a combination of thoughts and beliefs and things like that. And then the second would be the action that we decide to take, and both of those are choices.
I love it. I've heard you say something about pessimists and optimists. What would you say about pessimists and optimists?
The pessimists are usually more accurate, but the optimists are always more successful.
That without folks, pessimists are more accurate, and then optimists are more successful. Is that it?
Yeah, exactly.
So true. The easiest person to sell is a salesperson. And that's, again, because, we see things with opportunity attached to them, right? So you try to sell to an accountant, you're always going to have a hard time because they're an analytic, but you want to sell something to a salesperson, And because they see it, but they don't see it, but they see it so much better. Which, by the way, that is good. Your great. What is your greatest weakness? Is your greatest strength turned up too loud? So that being said, be cautious with that one, ladies and gentlemen. Be cautious. But I love that. How did you start that off with? Controlling your thoughts.
Yeah.
Something I wrote down not too long ago. I might not nail this, but it's like not wanting something is as good or better than actually having it. And I was
Mm-hmm.
like, oh my God, that's so powerful, right? Because it's context. It's we used to we what was it? We used to want to keep up with the Joneses, and now we're trying to keep up with the Kardashians. Again, I don't know who said that, but I read that somewhere, and I was like, oh
That's
my
fun.
gosh, so true, right? Like our poor kids, they are going to grow up. My daughter's 10 years old, right? And just looking at TikTok and which, not that I let her run around TikTok, but it happens, right? We're not, she's got an iPad and somehow, some way she gets that kind of crap on there. And it's like, the things that they're looking at, like Mr. Beast gives his buddies $1 million for fun, right? It's like, how are you going to compete with that, right? Like, are you kidding me? Uh,
Mm.
Anyways,
Yeah, I
the
tell
world's crazy, man.
you, it is.
Okay, I
It's
got
nuts.
one last one. Oh, sorry,
Yeah.
go. I want to ask you this question here.
No, I was going to say one of my big takeaways from Cancun, which you said, and I wrote this down. I'll never forget it. Is needing nothing attracts everything. That was
Everything.
awesome.
Needing nothing attracts everything. That's ridiculously not wanting something is good or better than actually having it. Falls into the exact same. But you
Yeah.
started with that answer with I don't think he said control. Control your thoughts. Power of that, ladies and gentlemen. Insane. So, okay, last question. One thing that you are incredibly good at is keeping your clients for a long time, and not only keeping your clients for a long time, but having them paying premium fees. Speaking to a coach, 5 years your junior, 10 years your junior, what's kind of advice you'd give them?
Provide value early and often. That would be number one. And then number two is recognize that your clients, by the virtue of choosing to be business owners, um, effectively put themselves at the end of the receiving line of constant problems. I mean, it's one after another, and it's easy to see your business owners your clients get really frustrated about that. But one of the things I tell my business owners is this: look, you get compensated really, really well by solving problems. So just be prayerful that they never stop coming. Okay. Don't ever want your problems to stop, because then the cash flow stops. Why do you exist? So that's the first thing. And then thirdly is to just make sure that you're the person who can help them solve those increasingly complex problems, because the problems just get more complex as time goes by and the business grows. I always like to say that Jeff Bezos is solving much different problems today, much more complex and much more profitable problems today than when he was stacking books in his first warehouse. And so you want to be that person who is perceived by your client as the individual who can help them solve each consecutive problem one after another, no matter how gnarly it becomes. And it doesn't mean you have to know everything. In fact, that would be disastrous. What it really means is that you certainly have your own personality, experience, and perspective, and your own skills and talents. All that matters because it gives context to all the other pieces, so that you can actually use it. Your client can actually use it effectively. Um, like making the complex simple and the daunting doable, let's say. Okay. Um, but what's what's really important here is that they see you as that person who can be right by their side no matter how complex the problems get. And what I tell my clients, I don't get this pushback or this objection much, but if anybody were to ever say to me, "Wow, that's you're pretty expensive," and how long do we pay this? I mean, how long are we going to need your help? Here's my answer every single time: and it stops the objection in its tracks. What I say is, listen, Mr. Business Owner, as long as I'm helping you turn nickels into quarters, do you ever want to stop doing that?
Nice. Money at a discount, correct?
Money. Yeah, that's right. That's exactly
Money at
right. The answer is always no. The answer is always no. I want to keep doing that. So my clients stay with me on the average 2 to 3 years is about right. They either sell the business or, something else happens. There's a short list of things, but it's not because we weren't turning nickels into quarters. That's for sure. Yeah. And my private clients today are on the average about $7,000 a month, $7,000 to $10,000 a month. My record so far is $42,000 a month. And no, it wasn't 3 months. It was 2 years and 9 months.
Nice. So the coach listening, so I just want to, so by the way, what nickels to quarters, we should be putting that on your website. That is nickels into quarters. Very cool. But a coach is listening. Can you feel comfortable advising them that you like 100? Is it possible to make 100 and not the guys with their airplane on the ground? Let's just accept that they have a lot of work to do to get their airplane into the air. And that's going to take time, energy, experience, some punches in the face and in the nose that you don't want, and some people taking advantage of you, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But do you make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year in your pajama with your phone and the internet connection? And can a coach listening do the same?
Yeah, I make multiple hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. It's more than 2. So, just so you know, it's not barely multiple hundreds of thousands of dollars. Yes, you can actually make multiple hundreds of thousands of dollars in your pajamas with a great internet connection. And however, yes, and you can do the same. However, I would say if you're brand new to this and you're a coach just getting started, man, I would get out there and network my face off, first of all, and develop as many connections and relationships as you can. Not because you need this gigantic list of thousands of people. You need a micro list of a few dozen, maybe 100. Shoot for that. But these are people you've shook their hand, you've laughed, you've cried, at least 5 minutes over a Mountain Dew together or something. And they're business owners and you're adding value, and you continue to cultivate those relationships. Get them right into a profit acceleration session or one of your in-person live events or one of your webinars. Add value early and often. Stay at it. Make the ask when the time's right. Mr. Business Owner, here's $242,000 of new profit just in the first year if we implement these 4 strategies over this next year. Point right at that part of the bar graph in your PAS and say, would you like my help with that?
Nice.
And that's how you get there.
I love it. Dale, without further ado, I got to tell you, that is the perfect way to end it. We appreciate your magic, both here as a company at focus.com, also as a community, because you're incredibly giving, and we appreciate that madly. And no doubt those listening to Business Coaching Secrets are very grateful for spending some time here today with you, bud. Thank you.
You're welcome, Karl. Appreciate you.
You bet, bud. God bless, man. Take care.
Karl Bryan built Profit Acceleration Software 2.0 to train business coaches how to find any small business owner more than $100,000 in 45 minutes without them spending an extra dollar on marketing or advertising. This becomes a business coach's superpower. So as a business coach, you'll never again have to worry about working with business owners that can't afford your high-end coaching fees. Check us out at focused.com.